So guys, welcome to Startup Company. This is a game that I have played since I think it was initially in early access. A load of updates and new features, as well as, improvements to the early game especially. I decided to do a series on this because this is a game that I've wanted to get back into, and now I think it's appropriate to actually do a series on it. So we're going to start off our software development company as SimStorm Development Ltd. We're going to take it from nothing and build it all the way up to the top, wherever that may actually end. But first, here's the finance screen. You have to basically take a loan, otherwise you have no choice basically. So we're going to have to take the $40,000 at $128.20 daily cost, on top of rent for the office and then the candidates that will employ essentially. So we've got 9 sales executives which are required for contracts. Jeff Caldwell seems to be the cheapest on there, with a very good speed initially, so cost effectively he's pretty good. Well, cost effective wise, depending on the contracts he pulls in, we should be able to get somewhere pretty quickly, but then we will have to train him because we don't have any developers, which we're going to recruit for now. So Jeff is going to be training, as you can see. His speed will increase, which is what we want. We need to get the contracts in pretty quickly. But we've got 10 candidates for the the software developer, as I would say, but they're called developers. But we hired Charlie Hogan because he was pretty much the cheapest, essentially. Our first employees are going to be the cheapest people we can get. Maybe later on, depending on their speed in comparison to their salary cost, then we might be able to get like the second lowest staff. So we can train our employees. As you can see, they're like next level unlocks, and then there's 4 icons. I need to upgrade Charlie to intermediate before he has access to the intermediate set of components, because he's got a beginner set of components which everyone has access to essentially. And once you do that, you can upgrade the workstation, I think at tier 5, and then I think that adds a more positive effect to the office like level or something. It's a bit weird because it doesn't add anything at speed, which is a bit stupid in my opinion. But anyway, we set Charlie off on some UI components. We're going to recruit another developer. Should have probably done this at the start, but this way, I think it's nice running 2 separate campaigns for jobs, because then you've got a different set of candidates and all that, so you don't have to choose from the existing set, and then effectively you're not wasting a load of money. But we're going to have to start the next day, and a lot of people are going to apply. I say that there's only 8 people, only 8 candidates. Right then, let's take a look. So we've got a couple of cheap employees here. So we've got Manuel Grant, who's on 3,792. He's got 80% speed, whereas Josh Francis has 90% speed for 3,856. So for like just under $100 extra, we've got an extra 10% in speed wise. And to be fair, we don't want everyone to be 80% speed. Eventually we will train people, so it's not really an issue at this point, I suppose. But like further down the line, we're gonna have to like prioritize speed over anything else. Or we can like train them, but then they're not going to be very good early on. They're not going to be as much of a benefit, as it were. But we're going to start on some back-end components for Charlie and network components for Josh, our new developer. Jeff is the quickest by far, and then Josh Francis is the second quickest, because we just hired him. He's like 90% speed. So first contract is in, and we've got it from the Tube, which is basically YouTube. 1 encryption component on a high urgency. So I don't know whether to accept it. I think I shall, just for now, to see if we can actually create this encryption component. We've got 24 hours I'm not too sure who to put on it, but Charlie looks like he's coming to the end of his back-end component. So we might get him to do it if he finishes. Yes, he does finish. Got 2 hours of the day left, so we'll send him on that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll get it done. Right, so there's 2 hours left. It looks like he's not going to actually complete it, but we've got a new role now unlocked, which is the designer. These create components again for the other contracts, because you will get, I think as soon as you unlock the role, I think you get contracts based on the components of that role, whether you've got them in the business or not. Essentially, I think that's how it works. But we don't need a designer at the moment because we've just got, you know, got 2 developers working on stuff and we haven't got anything design-wise. So here's our next contract. We've got a network component. Yep, we can do that straight away. 51 hours left, jeez. $720. Not much at this point. But as we progress, they will get better and we'll have access to new different contracts which allow us to bid for the contract, essentially. There's not a fixed price. So you can actually definitely undercut a load of people, depending on the costs and stuff. You have to know your finance inside and out, essentially. But we've got this one for the encryption component, $1,600. That was straight away. Didn't need to develop anything else. But unfortunately, the tube has said, don't expect any more business because we cancelled the contract. Now, that's a bit of an error, so... Of course, I didn't know that it would take this long for the encryption component to actually get developed. So, you know, it is what it is. But we got $240, which seems nothing at this point, for a UI component, which we did. Jeff seems to be in an okay mood. I'm going to have to send him home at some point, because otherwise his speed's going to be terrible. Not that it's a problem, but then I think if they drop below a certain mood, they will call in sick. And that's not what you want, because then that just puts everyone behind. Whereas if you send them for a vacation to their own house, essentially, it's okay, because then they won't call in sick. As you can see, look, I told you about the designer thing. Yeah, now it's asking if we could get a design component. Now, we don't have a designer. And I don't know how many more contracts we'll get like that, so I'm going to have to decline it, which means we lose on a load of income there, essentially. So we're going to keep training Charlie because, of course, he's the slowest. Probably not now after he's been trained, but, you know, we need to get him up there. 77% speed now for Josh. That's because mood and the office add variables to whether or not it's a plus or negative effect. So I think his mood's having a negative effect there because I don't think we have an office bonus at all. But we've got a new desk, so we're going to get a designer in because of course we had those contracts with the designer components. So we're going to need that straight away, essentially. As you can see, look, there's another one like that. For less cost, and I'm glad I declined that because no way I'm doing that encryption component for like 1,300. It seems stupid. Only 3 people have applied for the designer role, so we've got, well, best knight's the cheapest. What can I say? At 84 speed, not too bad. So we're gonna have to hire her. She's the cheapest. We don't really need expensive designers and quick designers. To be fair, we just need to get a load of wireframe components in stock, because those are the components we have been offered so far. It's nothing else. So Jeff is going to search for a new contract, and more people have applied for the design role. It's a bit stupid. Not many people apply for designer roles. Is that just me? Developer roles seem to be packed out, and so are sales executives. So we've got a database component needed to be developed. for this contract. We've got 27 hours to do it. We'll send Jeff home during this time. Because he doesn't really need to be in to manage the contract. The contract just stays present there. Then it gets delivered whenever we have the components. So we're going to get... I think that's Charlie on it. And Josh is going to start on some back-end components for us there. So database component for Charlie. And he's going to pretty much do that in no time at all because we've trained him. So that's 2,400. We've got a new employee type, which is a manager. So that's going to be useful later down the line. Not now, because it's pointless. It's very small. We have a limit of 8 workstations in this current building. And we've got 4 at the moment. So we need another 4 workstations, which I think 2 of those, maybe even 3 of those are going to be taken up by developers, I suppose. But yeah, manager's very useful. Later down the line, you can assign employees to them, so they will control what an employee does, so you don't have to keep clicking on them all the time. And you have to set a minimum stock level, so then the managers can assign tasks to, will assign a component to be developed to the developer that they manage, and the lower stock takes priority. It's essentially, that's what it is, and it helps so much more down the line, honestly. Saves me clicking like this. So as the parts go on, it will be less edited as it is. So just looking back now, I'm just looking at all their stats because I want to see what their mood's in. See, Jeff was like 58 mood. That's not what you want, but then without the sales execs were screwed, essentially. But it does mean that we can train up Josh, so that's good. And then Bess doesn't really need training because she's a designer and we don't really have a high volume of designer stuff. So she's fine to stay as she is, essentially. So Jeff's back. His mood slightly increased to 66, so that was okay. So we're going to search for a new contract. His mood's back in the green, so that's good. We'll have a good amount of speed. Now, it's weird that Jeff's working hours are like 8 till 4. Now, that's weird because that means he can search for a contract whilst everyone else is out. But then at the same time, it's a bit stupid because then he leaves earlier. It's just weird. I'd like everyone on the same working hours, but then we can't do that till later on anyway. I think it's just a bit pointless Jeff coming in first. I just really think it's pointless. It doesn't really matter at this stage, but... so we've got new contracts. We can do this straight away. We need 2 components for the wireframes and then 1 encryption, which we've got 4,620. That income. It's amazing. Right, so we've got another contract as well from Jeff. That was pretty quick. So we've got another one, high urgency, 2,970. There you go. We're starting to get some contracts and we're starting to complete them now. That's how long essentially it takes about, what, 13 minutes, if not just a bit longer, for me to actually settle in properly, but it's been edited, so it's probably been about like 20 minutes. Essentially, as soon as you start the game, you have to get used to how things work, and once you get used to how things work, then you can start to build up like consistency, like, look, this is what we need to do next, type thing. Which is good. So we're going to keep searching for new contracts. Database components are still being developed. Josh is still being trained. We can afford it at this point because we've still got loads of stock for stuff. But now this is where it's going to start becoming a little bit easier for us to build up. Essentially, it'd be a lot easier if we had like 4 developers, but it's not that simple just yet. So Jeff has got another contract. Let's see. Encryption component needed. It's 27 hours. We can do that. So we'll wait for Charlie to finish his database components to set him on the encryption component. Essentially, I will only create database and encryption components at this stage when they are requested, because it's pointless having stock of them, because we don't need them as often as what the other components, like the UI, for example, we have 2 of those. And then these wireframe components need constantly creating. And then eventually we might need to train Bess. because of the higher demand for design modules, as it is. Or design components, sorry. Right, we have a deadline of 4 hours. 3 hours now. Oh my god, can Charlie do this? 2 hours left. Oh, come on, he's nearly done. Oh boy, 1 hour left and we did it. And 2,600 for us. Boy, that was close. That was nearly a repeat of before. So we're going to stop training Josh now. We're going to send Charlie home. He needs a break from that. And then we're going to send Josh on some back-end component development. So that's pretty good. And then 84 speed for Bess, but her actual speed's really low because of the mood and such. We will need to train Bess at some point. Jeff can stay and not be trained for a bit. It's okay. But yeah, that was the initial episode of Start Up Company. We've got 4 employees now. It'll be interesting to know, say, what loss we've made. Oh wow, we've got like a -6,000, just short of $7,000 in the red. So that's a lot better than what we were before. So that's not too bad. So next time we're going to continue this, and we're going to probably get some more employees and get some higher contracts. Maybe make our first profit, but who knows. But guys, if you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more indie and simulation game content, and I shall see you all next time.